Hey, oh, I love that song. When will I see you again? 3 Degrees here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. John James getting set. Am I still on here? What the heck is going on? My ears are crapping out. There, the audio seems a little low. Let's bring that up just a little bit on the stream. Is that okay? Is that, does this, oh, there we go. Okay. It was my microphone. All right. We've got the Pep Rally for Freedom coming up. Got a big day. And I sure hope you stick around for it because we have a couple of great guests coming up, a couple of great liberty-loving ladies. We will tell you who they are, and we've got a lot to cover from the DNC and the reaction to it by mainstream media, which is always a lot of fun. Now, I have a little more preparation to do. I'm going to play a song, and this is a hand-picked song that I chose. It's a Maine artist. And... oh, by the way, let me preface that by saying this. I was listening to my son this morning, as I often do, coming in when I'm not listening to Mike. I'm not a big sports guy, so I was listening to my son this morning, and he played a song by a guy, I forget the guy's name, Ben the something. I think he's from Maine. It's a rap song about Augusta. A to the U to the G to the U to the S to the E to I can't even do it. A to the U to the G to the U to the S to the T to the A. It's I'm not going to tell you where to find it because I'm not going to actively promote the other radio station. Have a great day, Mike. Have fun at the Trump rally. Hey, Mike. I'm going to be real jealous of you if you get the if you get the Medal of Freedom tomorrow night. I'm thinking that's why you've got VIP seating.
No, it's tonight, by the way. And
it is tonight.
Yeah,
okay.
Tonight, and I don't think I got an old badass Hall of Fame induction.
You
yesterday,
did.
But I'm not getting the Medal of Freedom anytime soon.
Things happen in threes, Mike.
I mean, I'm a lover of freedom like you.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And I'm going to listen to the Freedom Pep Rally on my way down.
God bless you.
But I'm not going to
I don't know.
Don't hold out any hope for me.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But thanks for thinking of me.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
It should be fun. I've heard these things are
wait.
really something, so I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to try to do some Facebook Live stuff on the Legacy Facebook page, but I'll have a full report Monday morning.
Now, what are you going to be wearing? Because this is going to be on TV, undoubtedly.
They said casual dress.
Okay.
I think
you're going to wear your Moody's shirt?
I don't think I'm going to wear my Moody's shirt. I'll put something else on. Nothing. I just want to dress it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Not that wearing a Moody's shirt is dressed
down.
No,
it's a beautiful shirt.
It's certainly acceptable to do the program in. But no, other than I'll probably put some other shirt on, but that's it.
Okay.
They said casual dress.
All right.
I have a VIP seat.
Good.
Which is, maybe I don't know how close I'm going to get.
I think you're going to be in the front row. I think you're going to be on the stage next to Trump. I think you're going to be one of the honored guests.
Look for me, man.
I'm gonna
look for me.
I'm gonna.
I'll wave to you.
Please do. That's show your legacy colors.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Thanks, Johnny.
Hey, have fun.
Have
Mike.
a good weekend.
You too, buddy. Bye bye. That's awesome. Yeah, tonight the Trump rally in Londonderry, New Hampshire. So that should be very cool. And I was telling Mike the closest I came to a Trump rally was at the NRA convention in 2015 in Nashville, and it was which the auditorium is huge. It's right next to the Country Music Hall of Fame, and so what? Yeah, it was the Nashville because I saw Trump twice. The first time I missed the speech, and that was the problem. My wife was upset we missed the speech, so she was talking about, we missed the speech, and Donald Trump had come down the escalator, and he was standing all by himself. And I wanted to go say hi to him, but I wanted to console my wife. So I missed the opportunity. He was all alone. This is before he threw his hat into the ring. So there was no Secret Service or anything. Next time, we had to go through Secret Service when we saw the speech in Louisville. So that was a whole different thing. You couldn't even get close to him that day. And that was the day the NRA endorsed him, by the way. And also, the guy who spoke, one of the people who spoke after Donald Trump was Mike Pence, who was then the governor of Indiana. So I wonder if that's where the two met and decided, hey, we ought to be a team. I don't know. But that's kind of interesting. That's a little anecdotal story for you. I do have a few more things to do. So I am going to play for you now a great Maine artist. This song was, I don't know if it hit the top 40. I don't know if it was part of Casey's AT40 back in 1980 or 79. No, 79. 1979, Solid Gold. It was on Merc Records. The name of the group was Oak. If you're from Maine or anywhere else, you may remember Oak, led by an amazing talent named Rick Panett. And Rick Panett went on to become a minister. He left the singing venues and went to the more gospel venues, and he was a preacher in southern Florida, I think. And he passed away a few years ago. But this was their first chart. They had a couple of charting hits. This was the first, and this is easily my favorite. This is Love. I think this is Love. This is Love. This is Love. Here's Oak, WSKW.
Have a feeling that I know. Some would say it's like a vibration. And this feeling that I know, some would say it's quite a sensation. It's like magic, like something in the air. Let me tell you how I feel it everywhere. Have a feeling I will share if you only take the time to show me. And with this feeling that I'll share, will you learn to give yourself completely? It's like magic, it's like something in the air. Oh, I feel it everywhere. This is love, this is love. This is more than I can take. This is love. This is love. This is more than I can take. Can you feel it in your heart? And do you have a place to start? This is love. And as time passes slowly by, some will watch and see love die. But if the feeling that you hold in your heart is so strong that you'll never let go, well, this is love, this is love, this is more than I can take. This is love, this is love, this is more than I can take. Can you feel it in your heart? And do you have a place to start? This is love. This is love. This is love. This is more than I can take. This is love. This is love. This is more than I can take. This is love. This is love. This is more than I can take. This is love. This is love.
Oh, man, what a voice. What a voice he had. Rick Panett and Oak. Do you remember? 9:18 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. John James, your pep rally for freedom. And coming up a little later on this morning, we have got some, we're going to cover a lot of the last night of the big convention last night, the RNC, which went on. Some interesting things happened, both at the RNC and on the media. And we'll cover a little bit of that both, including, but not limited to, Rand Paul being attacked as he went back to the hotel. So that'll be coming up. Plus, later on at 10:30, we have Savannah Lynn from The Savvy Truth is going to be here with us. And she's going to, we're going to talk about the RNC, what she thought of it. She's just an amazing person. And 11:30, we're going to be having Sydney Standard on, a great black voice, and Walk Away, hashtag Walk Away lady. And that is, a lot like Blexit, which is Candace Owens' movement, as she encourages people to exit the Democratic Party, the left wing, and listen to truth. And that's one of her heroes. And Savvy also has a hero, Caitlin Bennett, Kate's Unsafe Space. I'm sure if you've trolled around on social media, you've seen both of those ladies quite a bit. And Savvy and Sydney as well. So they're coming up a little later on this morning, and it's all going to be good. It's going to be great. I love it. This is a Freedom Friday. This is we've got to come up with a 3-letter a fantastic Freedom Friday. That's what we'll call this, a fantastic Freedom Friday. So you want to be around for it. Let's start the day. Before we get into the RNC, let's go back in history. This is the 28th day of August, and here is what happened in the past, the Associated Press.
August 28th, 1963. Martin Luther King Jr. caps a major civil rights march in Washington with a speech for the ages at the Lincoln Memorial.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
1968. In Chicago, police and anti-Vietnam War protesters clash in the streets during the Democratic National Convention. Connecticut Senator Abraham Ribicoff condemns the police for the violence when he nominates a fellow senator for president.
And with George McGovern as president of the United States, we wouldn't have to have Gestapo tactics in the streets of Chicago.
But Vice President Hubert Humphrey is the nominee for the deeply divided Democrats. He narrowly loses to Republican Richard Nixon in the fall. 1955. Emmett Till, a black teenager from Chicago, is abducted from his uncle's home in Money, Mississippi. 2 white men seize Till after he supposedly whistled at a white woman. He's found brutally murdered days later. An all-white jury acquits the men of the crime. They later confess in a magazine interview. And 1996. In London, a royal split becomes final as Britain's Prince Charles and Princess Diana are granted a divorce. Diana is killed in a Paris car crash a year later. Charles marries longtime love Camilla Parker Bowles in the following decade. Today in history, August 28th, Ed Donahue, The Associated Press.
Yeah, I'm here. Just making sure the video stream is available at legacy1160.com. Click on video. Or you can just go to legacy1160.com/video. And it should be right there. I'm not checking it, but I assume it's right where it ought to be. And if it's not, ain't my fault. I'm not taking blame for any technological issues. Again, I got enough to worry about, I tell you. Welcome, good morning to everybody who's joining us this morning. Melissa's going tonight. Absolutely wonderful, Melissa. Good for you. Trump 2020, yeah. Thank you, Ivy. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Dottie, Friday Freedom Facts. I like that. Yeah, we've got plenty of them. We have got plenty of them. What's up, Buttercup? I love that phrase. I don't know why. What's up? What up, Buttercup? It's 9:23 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And let's start right out talking about what's going on. We've got some Friday Freedom Facts. My own echo chamber here. Last night, Donald Trump addressed the RNC at the White House. At the White House with a huge crowd. He said he will always put America first. Or as Democrats called it, hate speech. No, what? You think I'm joking? No. He did. That's what they called it. In reaction to the unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin yesterday, Joe Biden said protesting is a right, but violence is wrong. Which is the same thing he said during the Boston Tea Party. I don't know if you remember when he's in the history books. You can see him, a younger Joe Biden back in the day. But you notice how they're now starting to condemn the violence a little bit. Condemning it without really condemning it. They're not specifically condemning the violence specifically in Portland, in Seattle, in Kenosha, in Minneapolis, in Atlanta, New York. They're not specifically condemning. They're just a blanket. Yeah, the violence is not good. However, if you ask them about a specific place, there's no violence there. It's a peaceful protest, like that headline. Not a headline. It was a screenshot of CNN. That I posted yesterday on the, and I'm not laughing at the violence. Trust me, I'm not. It's horrible violence, but it was from Kenosha, Wisconsin. And the CNN story had a reporter standing there, and there's fires burning in the background. And the Chiron said, Kenosha protests, fiery, but peaceful. Okay. All right. I'm not saying that's not making a lot of sense to me, but yeah, whatever. Read it any way you want to. So last night at the RNC, there were more great speeches, and I've actually got a couple that I wasn't able to get to that I want to run for you this morning that were very, very good. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to do one of them right now. I don't know if you heard widower is a widower. His wife was killed. Sam Vigil. He spoke on Wednesday, the third night of the convention. It wasn't a long speech, but it really spoke to something that is a problem here in the USA. And that is something that the Democratic left fully endorses. You know what I'm talking about? Open borders, illegal aliens, do away with ICE, do away with DHS. They fully endorse all of those things. And it actually cost Sam Vigil his wife's life. Cost her life. Cost Sam Vigil his mate. Here is his speech. This is Wednesday night from the RNC.
Good evening. My name is Sam Vigil. There is a hole in my heart since my beloved Jackie was taken from me. This is her story. There were two things that Jackie loved to do every day. One was to go to the gym and tweet out Bible verses and prayers to her friends. On November 19th, the tweets stopped. That day started out like any other day. She left for the gym early in the morning. I heard the garage door open. Seconds later, I heard the car horn. I went outside to see if she had forgotten something. What I saw was a Jeep blocking her car in the driveway. I noticed the bullet hole in Jackie's window. I saw someone jumping into the Jeep and speeding away. Jackie had just been shot and killed in cold blood. We think this was a carjacking gone wrong, very wrong. Every time I open the garage door or stand in the driveway, I hear that horn. I see her slumped in the seat. When I go to bed at night, that sound and image haunt me. That's my life sentence. It's a sentence being served by too many families left behind by senseless killings. Albuquerque, where I live, is one of the most violent cities in the country. Fewer than 50% of homicides are solved. It is a sad irony that Jackie immigrated to the U.S. for a better life than her native Colombia, only to be gunned down in their own driveway. For 8 months, there were no arrests, no leads in connection with Jackie's murder. The Albuquerque police were overwhelmed. They needed help. Help arrived when President Trump launched Operation Legend in July of this year. Almost immediately, the FBI took over Jackie's case. In a matter of days, they arrested 4 people. The 5th suspect killer was arrested in Texas on unrelated charges. He is an illegal immigrant with a long criminal record. He had been deported in September and had come back in October to terrorize our community. I am extremely grateful to President Trump and the FBI for their efforts to deliver justice for Jackie and all the other innocent victims of violent crime. I am honored to support the president because he is supporting us. I know he will never stop fighting for justice, for law and order, for peace, security in our communities.
Wow. Been deported in September, came back in October. And they want to do away with any law enforcement that deals with these people who come in here not for a better life, as all legal immigrants do, but to live their life the way they want to under their rules. Constitution, law be damned. And this man lost his mate who immigrated to this country legally from Colombia. And we've heard sad stories like this many, many times before. From all different major cities, from San Francisco, where the young woman was shot by an illegal who had been deported several times on a pier. We heard from Chicago, where Lori Lightfoot refused to allow police to call ICE on an illegal who had broken the law, so they had to let him go. He went to a McDonald's and raped a 3-year-old girl in a bathroom stall. And Lori Lightfoot blamed immigration. And she does nothing about it. These are the deplorable leaders that we have in major cities. And it's not isolated. It's not isolated. These people have no shame. They're in it for, number one, themselves. And their hopes for power, control, and an agenda. Nothing else. You can't convince me their heart is in the right place. It's not. Jenny Durkin in Seattle. Ted Wheeler in Portland. I mean, how many names do one of them care about anybody besides themselves and their own families? No, they don't. 9:33 on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Jack Brewer is a former NFL player. He spoke on night 3 of the RNC. Brewer said African Americans have benefited from Trump's leadership in the White House, and he pushed back on reporting about the president's reaction to white supremacists. Because he knows truth. He doesn't spin things like mainstream media did last night. Oh, wait till you hear this. Wait until you hear this. All the networks spun it. But I want you to hear Jack Brewer, former NFL star, speaking truth. This is, wait a minute, I'm not sure. Okay, that would be from yesterday. Okay, here it is. This is Jack Brewer.
I'm Jack Brewer, a former 3-time NFL team captain, college professor, coach, husband, son, and father. I'm also a lifelong Democrat, but I support Donald Trump. Let me be clear. I didn't come here for the popularity or the praise, the likes or the retweets. I'm here as a servant to God, a servant to the people of our nation, and a servant to our president. I grew up in Grapevine, Texas, a town that my great-grandfather was the first black man to settle as a sharecropper in 1896. My early high school experience included fighting with skinheads and being a witness in an attempted murder trial after my friend shot a skinhead in self-defense. I remember my dad's bravery when he personally stood up against a KKK rally in my town. In my house, my father taught me to back down from no one. I know what racism looks like. I've seen it firsthand. In America, it has no resemblance to President Trump. And I'm fed up with the way he's portrayed in the media, who refuse to acknowledge what he's actually done for the black community. It's confusing the minds of our innocent children. Before I left to come deliver this message, my energetic 8-year-old son, Jackson, stopped me and said, "Dad, can you please just tell everyone that all lives need to matter and that God loves everyone?" In that moment, I realized that my 8-year-old had figured out what so many adults have seemed to forget. We are not as divided as our politics suggest. At some point, for the sake of our children, the policies must take priority over the personalities. So because you have an issue with President Trump's tone, you're going to allow Biden and Harris to deny our underserved black and brown children school choice? Are we so offended by the president's campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," that we're going to ignore that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have collectively been responsible for locking up countless black men for nonviolent crimes? Are you going to allow the media to lie to you by falsely claiming that he said there were very fine white supremacists in Charlottesville? He didn't say that. It's a lie. And ignore the so-called Black Lives Matter organization that openly, on their website, calls for the destruction of the nuclear family. My fellow Americans, our families need each other. We need black fathers in the homes with their wives and children. The future of our communities depend on it. I'm blessed to be able to run inner city youth programs and to also teach in prisons across America. The inmates in my federal prison program literally receive days off their sentence just for attending my class. And that's thanks to President Donald Trump and his First Step Act. President Trump cared about these Americans and their families, even when so many others had left them behind and had written them off. I'm forever grateful for President Trump for that. He endures relentless attacks, and so do many of us, like myself, who support him. But my mama always told me, when the Lord starts blessing, the devil starts messing. This convention marks a time to celebrate our history. Republicans are the party that freed the slaves and the party that put the first black men and women in Congress. It's the party of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. And now, Tim Scott and Donald Trump. Our president has made incredible strides to end mass incarceration and give unprecedented opportunities for black in America to rise. America, let this election be a call for all God's people who are called by his name to humble ourselves and pray together and to seek his face and to turn from our wicked ways. Then he will hear us from heaven and he will forgive our sins and he will heal our land. Amen. And God bless America.
Jack Brewer, former NFL star, lifelong Democrat, Trump supporter. Seeing this all over the country. We're seeing this all over the country. Mainstream media cannot stand it. Did they melt down last night? All of them. Every one of them. CBS, NBC, ABC, MSNBC. We got them all. We got them all. You're going to want to stick around. And we've got a little bit of President Donald Trump's dark speech. That's what they called it. They called it a dark speech. Nothing but praise for Biden last week. Dark and dangerous. Stick around. Coming up next.
1160 WSKW.
I want to tell you about the incredible items you can find at Townline Antiques, but there's no match for seeing them in person and reliving those wonderful memories for yourself. Now is the perfect time to shop through their great selection of furniture, artwork, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, books, glassware, home decor, and so much more. Take home a little something to decorate a room with style, add to your collection, or share a wonderful memory of your past with friends and family. Townline Antiques open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow Vassalboro Town Line.
Maine Voter Information Hotline, can I help you?
Yes, I'm calling about those ads running for Susan Collins, you know, the ones attacking Sarah Gideon.
Yes, ma'am. We've been getting a lot of calls about those.
Huh. Well, are they true? Like what they say about Sarah Gideon and taxes?
Well, it says here newspapers have been speaking out about those. The Portland Press Herald said the ads were largely out of context, and the Bangor Daily News said the ad misleads on Gideon's record of paying taxes.
Interesting. But is it true that Gideon raised taxes in Augusta?
No, ma'am. Says here Sarah Gideon helped lower taxes for the middle class, including sponsoring the first direct property tax relief bill to pass in many years.
I told Bert I remembered that. I should get him to call you.
I'll leave that to you, ma'am. We are pretty busy these days.
I can only imagine. Good luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon from Maine.
At Rod Cycle and RV, we know these are uncertain times. Everywhere we turn, we hear about the phrase, the new normal. But how about instead of a new normal, we go back to simpler times? Let's put our devices down and get into nature. Share a family dinner on the picnic table, laugh together around the campfire, or go on a hike. At Rod Cycle and RV, we'd love to help you find the perfect camper for your needs. No pressure, no gimmicks, just a quality camper at a good price. Find us online at rodcycleandrv.com or stop in Route 201 in Madison. Rod Cycle and RV, not the biggest, but always trying to be the best.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Yeah, welcome back. Wearing my Cruisin' Country. It doesn't say country on it, my Cruisin' t-shirt. This is back when I worked at Cruisin'. It wasn't country. It was like old rock and roll. I worked there with Bruce Stevens. I did the morning show with Bruce Stevens. And Bruce is actually going to be my counterpoint, I think, very soon. We're going to have him on starting at 11 o'clock. I think we're going to try doing 11 to noon together. And we'll talk some politics. He is more left than I am quite a bit. He was on WTIC in Hartford with Colin, I keep wanting to say Colin McEnroe. It was Colin McEnroe. Yeah. And he was on WBZ, and he was always the lefter guy. I don't like calling Bruce a lefty because he's a very reasonable guy, and I love Bruce. And I don't know if it's going to be more politics or just more fun. And like I had mentioned the other day, doing karaoke. We do karaoke together. At least we did on the other radio station. I don't know if that would fly too well on here, but maybe it will. We'll see. So anyway, that's coming up. And let's see what else is going on in the news here outside of politics. Here's something. Sign of the times. School's starting up again. By the way, the Windsor Fair would be starting Sunday. It would be in the Union Fair right now, the Blueberry Festival, and the Windsor Fair would be starting on Sunday. And nothing. Nobody's talking about fairs. Nobody's talking. It's such a different world. It's such a different world right now. It just is weird. It's like an Alternate universe, how much things have changed in 1 year, in 6 months. Actually, less than that. So, a sign of the times, according to a report out of New Jersey, in Camden, New Jersey, a 36-year-old female teacher has been arrested for having sex with a 17-year-old male student. And I feel sorry for this student. He lives in Camden, New Jersey. I mean, what, nothing for that? There we go. Thank you. People think I'm serious. Oh, speaking of school, check this. This is a true fact. New report. There's a brand new report out. Another sign of the times. Maybe this has something to do with the what is the learning they have now? That Clinton learning. The good old, it was a Clinton learning. The what was the kind of education they called it? With the weird math and everything, the weird history and weird math, and nothing made sense. You know what I'm talking about. According to a new report, only 12% of American high school seniors, 12%, only 12% can pass a basic U.S. history exam. That's the lowest percentage since our country was founded in 1922. No! Yeah, thank you. Yes, that was a joke. I know the country wasn't founded in 1922. It was 1822. I know that. Can't fool an old fooler. 946. I'm a smart guy. I'm wicked smart. All right. Donald Trump's speech last night. It was long. It was a long speech. It was at the White House. There were a lot of people there. And, there wasn't a lot of social distancing, but neither was there outside the perimeter where there were thousands of protesters, a live band. It was a party. Guess which one mainstream media did not pick on? Huh? Anyone? You know. So Donald Trump's speech last night was at the White House. A lot of people around, followed by a huge fireworks display, which they're saying now, it may have been illegal. That's what the media is saying. That's all they can say. Well, the fire could be illegal. You believe that fireworks display? So Trump spoke to this large gathering, and by the way, nobody was forced to be there. Just like nobody is forced to go to the protests. I say, if they're going to protest peacefully, let them. I have no problem with that. They go there willingly, knowing the dangers with COVID-19. They go there willingly, but they're free. You see, freedom is a beautiful thing, to make your own decisions, knowing the risks. Freedom has inherent risks, period. It just does. Government intrusion is it's overreach. We know the dangers. We knew the dangers a couple of weeks into the COVID-19 virus. Things keep changing all the time. The doctors keep backtracking and new ideas, and then that doesn't work. Oh, we were wrong. That doesn't. So that may be one of the reasons people have a problem with the science, because the science is not static, nor should it be. But it's always changing. You're told to do something, and then, that doesn't really work. And then you've got the WHO, the World Health Organization, which is, in my mind, they and Xi Jinping in China are solely responsible for the virus being here. Of course, that ship has sailed, and we're dealing with a virus now. But I'm just saying, the WHO, people are still listening to the WHO for advice. They lied to us at the beginning. Why should we listen to them? Donald Trump pulled out. Hallelujah. Joe Biden wants to put us right back in with the Chinese hugging WHO. They aren't the World Health Organization. They are the China Health Organization. They could care less about the rest of the world, because if China gets something and everybody else doesn't get it, then China doesn't look like they look like they're worse off than the rest of the world. So we all have to be in the same boat, the same slow boat to China, to coin an old phrase. So, anyway, let's get to President Trump's speech. This is just a few minutes of what was a very lengthy speech, and then we'll show you what mainstream media had to say about it. It was a basic meltdown. Here is the president.
This November, we must turn the page forever on this failed political class. The fact is, I'm here. What's the name of that building? But I'll say it differently. The fact is, we're here and they're not. To me, one of the most beautiful buildings anywhere in the world, and it's not a building, it's a home as far as I'm concerned. Not even a house, it's a home. It's a wonderful place with an incredible history. But it's all because of you. Together, we will write the next chapter of the great American story. Over the next 4 years, we will make America into the manufacturing superpower of the world. We will expand opportunity zones. Thank you, Tim Scott. Bring home our medical supply chains, and we will end our resilience for bad things. We will go right after China. We will not rely on them one bit. We're taking our business out of China. We are bringing it home. We want our business to come home. We will continue to reduce taxes and regulations at levels bring home for our medical supply jobs in the next 10 months. And it'll be higher than that. We will hire more police, increase penalties for assaults on law enforcement, and surge federal prosecutors into high crime communities. We will ban deadly sanctuary cities and ensure that federal health care is protected for American citizens, not for illegal aliens. We will have strong borders. And I've said for years, without borders, we don't have a country. Don't have a country. Strike down terrorists who threaten our people and keep America out of endless and costly foreign wars. We will appoint prosecutors, judges, justices who believe in enforcing the law, not enforcing their own political agenda, which is illegal. We will ensure equal justice for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. We will uphold your religious liberty and defend your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms.
Hear, hear. Listen to the applause that line got. Donald J. Trump last night at the White House making his acceptance speech, followed by a fireworks display, a huge fireworks display. And boy, nobody in the media seemed to like that, I'll tell you right now. Let's get to some of the media response now. The final night put Joy Reid right over the top. Joy Reid was fuming, said that the address was repugnant, a crime, the end of America. Joy Reid. Remember, there is no editorial comment on MSNBC, according to Chuck Todd. Here is Joy Reid's response to the president. Where is it? Did you not get that one? Okay, apparently that one didn't get got. Okay, well, let's move on. We'll get back to Joy Reid. Let's go to ABC, one of the main networks. They reacted to the speech last night with all kinds of vitriol, decrying it as a no-hope speech filled with darkness, entitlement, harsh attacks, It lacked energy and dared to suggest Biden would reenact lockdowns if elected. Wait a minute. He said he would. Here's ABC.
There were moments of hopefulness. He did say, when I am reelected, the best is yet to come. The staging, you can hear the fireworks right here, was really quite incredible, possibly illegal in terms of the use of government property for such an overt political event. But darkness, George. He said China would own the United States if Biden is elected, that Biden would abolish the suburbs, that he would destroy the American dream. And I have to say, it's also one of the longest and lowest energy speeches that I have seen the president give.
The Biden campaign is calling it low energy, perhaps to taunt the president. There's no hope in that message. David Muir, there's going to be a lot of fact-checking going on for the speech from his opponents and from independent fact-checkers. There was one line that he took directly from your interview with Joe Biden, but basically twisted what Biden said into something he didn't say.
Yeah, this is a blueprint, I think, from President Trump tonight. He was trying to draw a line there between science and what he believes has been a failure on the part of the Trump administration in doing so. But President Trump made it clear tonight he's going to label this now the Biden shutdown.
Right. The president said instead of following science, when in fact what Biden told you, he would follow the science.
I think the most impressive thing about this speech, which did go on for a long time, and he did seem to run out of steam, is this backdrop and his statement. We're here and they're not. The people's house. He believes he's living there, but he's also essentially claiming it almost as a matter of right. It is a new kind of politics in America.
Give me a break. Give me a break. He said it's our house. Speaking of the people, it's ours. It's ours. And they cannot get over themselves. They cannot stop changing narratives. They know what he meant. They're disingenuous at best. They're liars at worst. These people are deployed, and this is one of your main networks, one of the networks that more people in America watch, ABC, NBC, and CBS. Now, here's the offshoot of NBC. It's MSNBC. Here's Joy Reid talking about the president's speech. Listen to this disingenuous piece.
All I have to say is, as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, Fidel Castro, Julius Caesar, Mobutu Sese Seko. That was not an American president giving an acceptance speech. That was a monarch. It was very much like what Castro used to do, an hour and 10 minutes that clocked in of just, it wasn't a usual Trump speech with his ad libs and he did the sort of humor kind of thrown into it. He said, the fact is I'm here and they're not. He made the White House into the Trump palace.
No, he didn't. He said, we're here. He did say, I'm here. Then he said, we're here, and they're not. They being Hillary Clinton and her evil, I don't know what you want to call them, tyrants, I guess, would be good. Can you imagine who would have been in her administration had she been elected? Holy cow. 9:58. We're running late, but I want to get to one more piece here before we take a break at the top of the hour. At 10:30, Savvy is coming up. Savannah Lynn from the Savvy Truth will be on with us. And if you're not familiar with her, you will get an introduction here before we have her on. So stick around for that. Now, NBC, that's not MSNBC. NBC hated the Trump speech, and they had them all there. They had all the Trump haters there. Andrea Mitchell. They had Chuck Todd. They had Lester Holt. Who else did they have? I don't think Rachel Maddow was there, but they had everybody else there. Everybody Chuck Todd. I said Chuck Todd. Here is NBC, the regular network, talking about Donald Trump's speech last night.
There was a lot of talk over the last few weeks that the Republicans are having trouble finding their talking point against Joe Biden. It's very clear now. It's anarchy. It's the fear in the suburbs. Some of the same themes we heard over the last couple of days being capsulized in that speech.
As the speech went on, as I turned to Chuck Todd and we watched this unfolding, Chuck, it was less the Trump we see at convention speeches or State of the Union speeches and got into kind of the Trump we're used to seeing at rallies, ad-libbing and feeling loose.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I actually thought it was either toned down rally Trump
or upbeat State of the Union Trump? The point is, it felt like he was sort of vacillating between the two. There was times that it felt like a State of the Union that was looking backwards. He was not telling you what he was going to do. He was recitating what he believes are his accomplishments. This was an acceptance speech that felt about him articulating what he's against more than what he's for.
And let me bring in Andrea Mitchell at that point. Andrea, did you get
good, Andrea Mitchell.
Understanding of what the plan would be for the next 4 years?
No, I did not. And in truth, it seems as though it's more of the same. The fact that he staged this large a gathering during a pandemic without masks, without social distancing, in a sacred place, really, an historic landmark, the White House, a public place. Nothing like this has ever been done. It's of questionable legality.
Oh, questionable legality. Whoa, Andrea, how about the question of legality of people protesting outside? No, that's not illegal if they're peaceful, which they weren't. But that's not illegal. Why should it be illegal for Donald Trump to have a rally? Nobody was forced to go. Freedom. First Amendment. Right to peacefully assemble. Andrea Mitchell. He's the president. He can do it if he wants to. He can invite people if he wants to. Just like Mike and others are going to go to the rally in Londonderry tonight. Melissa's going. Other people are checking in on text who are going. It's freedom. They don't get it. And Andrea, it sounded like more of the same. I did not understand what he was going to do. Sounded like more of the same. Well, I'm telling you right now, if it's more of the same, bring it on. Bring it on, because we had a great economy. We had low unemployment. We had cut many of the requirements for businesses to excel. Bring it. And fossil fuels, dig baby, drill baby drill. Amen. Oh, by the way, there's going to be more drilling in Alaska. Did you hear that? Environmentalists are not happy. But the oil fields that people have promised for many, many, many years, many administrations, Trump is doing it. For cheap oil. Hallelujah. Yeah, bring it. More of the same. And he did say what he was going to do, Andrea Mitchell. You are just tone deaf to the truth. You're a washed up. No, I'm not. That would be mean. It would be funny. Sea hag. She's a washed up old sea hag. All right, there, I said it. It's 10:02. We've got to take a break. We've got news, and we're going to be right back. We're going to introduce you to Savannah from The Savvy Truth with some of her audio, and we're going to be talking with her at 10:30. Stick around. I'm John James.
Hool's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning in Waterville has been providing Central Maine contractors, homeowners, and businesses with fast, friendly, reliable, and economical service for 80 years. It's time to think about air conditioning systems, humidifiers, and air filtration units. Don't be caught with an air conditioning system that can't handle your needs. Call Hool's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning at 872-6762 and talk to Jeff Pellerin about the Mitsubishi Mr. Slim ductless air conditioning system that's designed to cool in the summer months and add additional heat in the winter months. For plumbing supplies, bathroom fixtures, toilets, sinks, faucets, vanities, tubs, showers, and lighting fixtures, visit their showroom at 19 North Street in Waterville. And don't forget, when you need emergency service, call Hool's 24-hour service department, 872-6762. Visit Hool's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning online at hoolsphac.com. Hool's, serving the community for 80 years.
Millionaire Sarah Gideon has made a lot of negative ads so far. Here she is in a recent one saying,
"It's way over the line."
But you know what's really over the line? In her negative ads, Sarah Gideon continues to attack Susan Collins' Paycheck Protection Program, which, by the way, helps save over 27,000 Maine small businesses and hundreds of thousands of Maine jobs. Now we find out that Gideon's husband's law firm took at least $1 million from the same Susan Collins program that Gideon herself keeps criticizing for political gain. Sarah Gideon and her hypocrisy. Now that's what's over the line.
It's way over the line.
Way over the line. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
Take it to Moody's.
You want to get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's. Collision Centers.
With so much uncertainty in the world right now, wouldn't it be nice to know there's one thing you can count on? Hi, this is Teresa Smith, Director of Advising at Kennebec Valley Community College. While no one can guarantee the future, thinking about where we want to be and then taking a single step in that direction is a great way to begin. Whether you've just started to consider a new career or due to the COVID-19 crisis, your college plans have changed for the fall, KVCC can help you start or continue your education. With more than 30 majors, our fall semester offers a wide selection of live, online, and hybrid courses. We even have plans in place for a smooth transition to all online learning should it become necessary to ensure your safety. Fall classes begin on August 31st. To learn more, visit us online at kvcc.me.edu or call the enrollment team at 453-KVCC. That's 453-5822. Now is a great time for KVCC. We're local, we're prepared, and we're here for you.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Inez de la Quatera. President Trump's acceptance speech delivered as the nation grapples with several crises. The same day, the national death toll from COVID-19 passed 180,000 people.
In their honor, we will unite. In their memory, we will overcome.
As protesters rallied outside the White House amid nationwide unrest.
In the strongest possible terms, the Republican Party condemns the rioting, looting, arson, and violence we have seen in Democrat-run cities all like Kenosha, Minneapolis, Portland, Chicago, and New York, and many others.
He did not mention the names of any of the Black people shot by police, which have sparked protests across the country. President Trump mentioned Joe Biden by name more than 40 times. ABC's Mary Bruce has more on his response.
Overnight, the Biden campaign slammed the president for delivering what they called a delusional vision of the country. They say he simply doesn't grasp American values.
This is ABC News. TikTok may be on the verge of being sold. Several reports say a sale of the short video platform's U.S. operation may be imminent. And ABC's chief business correspondent Rebecca Jarvis says it looks like Microsoft and Walmart may be partnering on the lead bid.
TikTok has 100 million U.S. users. Most of them are young, and this gives Walmart access to a lot of young customers. It would potentially even give them a leg up on the 800-pound gorilla in the retail space, Amazon.
Fighting is flaring up in the Middle East. The Israeli military now says it has hit several targets in Gaza after rockets were fired from the area into Israel. No immediate reports of casualties on either side. Officials at a Berlin hospital now say Alexei Navalny, a fierce critic of Russia's president, is in stable condition. He's still in a coma after falling ill in Siberia. German doctors say there are indications he may have been poisoned, a report that Russian doctors have disputed. Inez de la Quatera, ABC News.
Public speaking, getting stranded at sea, gas station bathrooms, venomous snakes, paying too much for a bed that isn't right for you. These are the most common fears in America. That's why Mattress Firm came up with the Rest Assured Promise. So you'll find the right bed at the right price, guaranteed. And during our Labor Day sale, save up to 50% on America's best-selling brands like Sealy and more. Restrictions apply. Valid at participating locations and only while supplies last. Some products only available online. Visit mattressfirm.com for details.
Ready to take on that painting project?
Ask Sherwin-Williams and get 35% off paints and stains with sale prices starting at $25.02, August 27th through September 7th. With 35% off our exceptional paints and stains, you can give some color love to your bathroom, living room, or every room in your home. Shop in store or order online for curbside pickup. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
It's time for the truth, and you found the home of it right here.
He wants the white suburbs to be terrified of Black Lives Matter and to think that it's some sort of revolution against the police, etc.
Time to giddy up. Let's do this, Chicago. Let's make the census cowboy proud.
But we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department. Minneapolis Police Department is rotten. So when we dismantle it, we get rid of that cancer.
Here's your truth-telling, freedom-loving, flag-waving host, John James.
Boy, they're angry. Dismantle it because they are rotten. That's Ilhan Omar. You also heard Lori Lightfoot in there, and I don't know, I lose track. So many of them. 1010, Legacy 1160, WSKW. Savannah from The Savvy Truth coming up, 10:30. I'll introduce you to her in just a moment. Uno momento. Yes, I am multilingual. I failed Spanish. Have I ever told you that? I failed Spanish class in high school. I got a 65. I don't even know if I wish I'd have been a more astute student. I really do. I think knowing languages is awesome. But I should know French in this community. My wife is Franco-American. And I should know. And I know I've missed several calls. I know. I just got some texts. I apologize for that. So it's better if you let me know you're going to call, either Facebook me and hopefully I'll see it, or text me and hopefully I'll see it, say I'm calling. If I don't see it, I don't usually, I can't answer it. Or if you're somebody who doesn't text, doesn't have a cell phone, then just pick up your landline and call me and tell me you're going to call. We'll do it that way, right? Oh, that won't work. Never mind. 12 past 10 o'clock. And before we get to some audio from Savannah, I want to do the final network, so make it a trifecta here. Last night, CBS made it 3 for 3 in terms of networks displaying all sorts of hatred and indifference toward the RNC and President Trump. Now, while CBS saw Biden's remarks as from the heart, these are actual terms they used, adjectives they used. Great, incredible, soaring, from the heart. Listen to what they had to say about Donald Trump's speech. Misleading, possibly illegal, requiring clarification, too optimistic about the coronavirus pandemic. Yeah, I've got audio from them, I sure do. Here is the always, never failing CBS.
This is an extraordinary thing to see this in Washington as the fireworks spell out Trump on government grounds. There are some things the president said tonight that deserve some clarification. John Dickerson, it took more than half an hour before the president addressed the pandemic that has claimed 180,000 lives and infected more than 5 million Americans.
The most important thing when you are the biggest voice in government is that people understand and think what you're saying is truthful. And when he says they listen to the science, it's just not been his record with respect to COVID-19. Consistently, when scientists were telling him it was a threat, he was downplaying the threat. And this, again, is important because in this particular instance, more than anything else, truth and clear information from a public official matters to people's health. One other point is he made that Joe Biden, if he were in charge more, would have been dead. Joe Biden in 2019 said the administration doesn't have a pandemic plan, long before anybody was talking about pandemics.
So they even used Trump's speech to praise Joe Biden. Like I say, they just can't get over themselves. Oh, and I should mention this. Rand Paul, the Kentucky senator, said he was attacked by, and there's video, he was attacked by a crazed mob of more than 100 people after he left the White House following the acceptance speech. Just got attacked by an angry mob of over 100, 1 block away from the White House, he wrote on Twitter this morning. Thank you to the D.C. Police Department for literally saving our lives from a crazed mob. Video on social media appeared to prove it. Police formed a wall around Paul and his wife, Kelly. Protesters chanted Breonna Taylor and no justice, no peace. The couple didn't appear to be injured. Now, hundreds of protesters gathered outside the White House last night. Fencing was set up along the perimeter of the White House to keep protesters away, but shouts could be heard from the South Lawn. Protesters yelled, "No justice, no peace," and "Join us," while holding anti-Trump and Black Lives Matter signs, beating drums and playing. They had a band on a bus, on the top of a bus, playing loud music. It was a party. As long as it's peaceful, good for them. But when you attack a senator and his wife, you've gone over the line. The media didn't mention those. Did you notice? There was no mention of the protests or the attack on Rand Paul. Why would there be, right? So at 10:30, we have Savannah coming up, Savvy Truth. Now, she and Sydney Standard is going to join us later on this morning, too, at about 11:30. Now, in case you're unfamiliar with them, you're going to hear some audio. I'm going to let you hear some Savannah audio right now. She's 16 years old, homeschooled. She has become a big voice on social media, well respected for her courage to say whatever she feels, knowing that she is speaking the truth and winning hearts and minds. Here is part of her most recent piece, which you can see now.
Difference of opinion does not mean difference of principle. We have been called by many names, brethren of the same principle, Thomas Jefferson. But I tell you this, we are no longer of the same principle. We are no longer of the same morals. We are not even allowed to call out what is good and what is evil. It is between two sides. One side who wishes to take away every single God-given constitutional right you have, disarm its citizens, legalize murder, and create a dystopian police state-controlled society. The other side wishes to protect every single sacred honor our founding fathers held dear when they wrote those famous words, "We the people under God." We have a choice this November. We can vote a man into office who has spent the past 40 years destroying every single political platform that he stepped on, who has made promise after promise and never ever fulfilled them, who has run for president multiple times and failed. Or we can vote a man into office who made us promises and kept them, who didn't sugarcoat things, who didn't beat around the bush, who got the job done, and he got it done with a sense of sass and class. Vote red this November. Do your research. Go to DuckDuckGo. Go use those browsers. But I can tell you this, Facebook, Google, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, I dare you to try to silence me, because I am not going anywhere. And that goes for a lot of us. Trump 2020, everybody. I hope the rest of you make the right decision.
There you go. That not going anywhere. I love that. What was incorrect about that? Nothing. Dystopian police state? Oh, they want to create social justice warriors to police the cities, the towns. They're trying to do it in Seattle and Minneapolis. They have tried to defund, literally do away. You heard Ilhan Omar, do away with the police, dismantle the police because they're rotten. They're a cancer. The police. No, she was right on everything. Every single thing. And yeah, doing away with our God-given rights, you bet they do. You bet she's spot on. I mean, I don't know why the left just won't own it, because they say it. Beto O'Rourke said it about the Second Amendment. Your universities all across the land and major public cities, figures, San Francisco, New York, they are trying to take away the First Amendment rights of people. Universities stifle free speech when it comes to conservatives every day. And it's allowed. And they do it proudly. In fact, you're going to hear Sydney address that next hour. Now, this next piece from Savannah, one of her first pieces, where she tackles abortion. And she talks about her hero, Caitlin Bennett, who you may or may not be familiar with. She does a segment called Kate's Unsafe Space. And I'm telling you right now, she literally, you're talking unsafe space. She goes into the thick of hostile crowds and tries to talk with them. And some of it is, it's a little scary at times. But again, it's not unexpected. It's very telling. She knows the kind of response she is going to get. Anyway, here is Savannah's, one of her earlier pieces on abortion, a part of it anyway. Listen.
Just recently, one of my personal heroes, Caitlin Bennett, released a video titled "Leftists Are Hypocrites." And that statement is the closest thing to the truth. The premise of the video was of her asking feminists whether they thought the death penalty was okay, and then having a follow-up question asking whether they were pro-choice or pro-life. The vast majority of the people answering these questions said that they were okay with abortion, but that they were not okay with the death penalty. And the reasoning was quite hypocritical. They stated that the government shouldn't be allowed to kill people who killed other people, which is the reason that they got the death penalty, but the government should allow women to have a choice in murdering the baby inside them because it's her body. Her body. Now that statement right there just is a completely hypocritical statement in itself. How is it her body? She's not the one being brutally ripped apart, murdered, and sucked out of her, is she? No. It's a completely different living human being with a completely unique DNA and genetic code that's all its own. It's not the woman being murdered. It's a baby. And yes, I said baby, not fetus.
We heard the speech from a former Planned Parenthood worker who is rising in the ranks, I'm sure making some pretty good money. But when she was called in to assist during an abortion, and this was x-rayed or whatever they called it. It wasn't a sonogram. It was actually a visual of the baby being vacuumed out of the womb. When she saw the baby literally fighting for its life inside this mother, that was the end for her. That was the end for her. See if we've got Megan says she's trying to call. Let's see if we've got Megan here. We've got Savannah coming up in just a few minutes. I've got to figure out which line we've had a bunch of lines going. And again, I apologize, but that's just the way the studio is set up here. Hi, good morning. Is this the party to whom I am speaking? No, hello. Is this the party to whom I am speaking? All right. Is this the party to whom I'm speaking? I've got to reset the phone. Line Antiques, there's thousands of items from throughout history. They've got vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and a lot more. Get away from it all with a look to the past. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday, 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You want to get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hi, welcome back. 10:33. It's funny. It's not funny, really. I just lost Savannah. I think we got her back here. Thank goodness we have multiple lines, but something went awry. I'm going to try the line I think she's on first. Let's see how magical this is going to be. Hello, check 1 2. Savannah, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Was that me or was it you? What did I do? Did I hang up?
I have no idea. Technology is a confusing thing.
It is it's wonderful and confusing, and it's a blessing and a curse. I get that. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me on again.
Oh, always happy to. I knew you would have some outlooks on the convention this week, and now you do a show, and I shared last week's show. I think it was the show at American Women Who Bear Arms, which is another arm of the freedom that I support. So hopefully we're going to get all kinds of mileage for you. And your show is on Tuesdays, right? You do a new show every Tuesday?
Yes, new show every single Tuesday with a very unique guest every week.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Now who are some of the guests you've had on? I know you had Vernon Jones.
Yes, I've had Lou Vernon Jones. I've had Lieutenant Colonel Alan West.
Yes.
Paulina Lena, the Google whistleblower. We've had some really, really cool people that I've just had the honor of interviewing on my show. Come on. That's
absolutely awesome. Well, you're doing something right. I may have to talk with you about contact numbers. It's not an easy thing to do. Although we are supposed to be getting all the information we need to conduct a show with interviews and so forth. Sometimes there's a lot of digging involved. But you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work and tell us what you thought of the RNC overall. Some of the speeches, some of the highlights.
Oh, I absolutely love the RNC. It has been a just banger hit all freaking week.
Yeah.
So it was completely a step up from the DNC's little Zoom meeting call where they had to repeat screens to fill up their little monitors. The RNC totally got 10 out of 10. And last night was the finale. And if anyone saw the fireworks, you will have seen the Trump 2020 fireworks, the USA fireworks, the Star fireworks. I don't think I've ever seen that before in a fireworks show.
Wasn't that great? Did you hear the media criticizing the fireworks, calling it illegal?
Oh, yes. But do they forget that is where we do the 4th of July fireworks show every year?
Yeah.
It's not illegal. It's the National Mall. That's where fireworks should be happening all the time.
Yeah, and Donald Trump is the president. I mean, he can say whether it's legal or not, right? I mean, he's the commander-in-chief.
I would think so.
They can't get over themselves. They just cannot say enough bad about Donald Trump. And I think, Savvy, and tell me if this is accurate, I think the news networks, as well as the Biden camp and the Democrat Congress, I think they're starting to panic.
Oh, they're completely panicking. I mean, Nancy Pelosi has been telling everyone that Joe Biden will not degrade himself to speak and debate with Donald Trump. And then Joe Biden says he's going to debate him. But they're panicking because of Joe Biden, the man who cannot come up with a single coherent sentence, debates the sassiest president we have ever had. Tables will tip.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already seen it with Hillary Clinton, who's pretty articulate with the you'll be in jail if I'm in office.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And you're right. Joe Biden cannot put a coherent sentence together. And, you know, part of that is the aging process, I'm sure. He's never been a great speaker, but now he's also got the senility thing going on. I hope it's not worse, but at the same time, a debate would really sort of flesh out whether or not he's capable. And so, yeah, Nancy Pelosi thinks there should be no debates. Now, what is no debates going to do for him? Nothing, right? I mean, people are going to say, well, if we can't hear a debate, we can't vote for him.
Well, I mean, Don Lemon has already said the riots and the looting and the burning of our cities needs to stop because it's helping Trump get reelected.
Yeah.
The Democrats are honestly biting their own foot right now.
You're right.
The fact that Joe Biden won't debate Trump is only gnawing the foot off the leg completely.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. For Don Lemon to say that, that is going some. And I don't know, do you scan the networks? Do you watch all the networks just to see what they're doing?
I try to, but it's so hard to watch them when I know what they're saying is completely false and lies.
Yeah, I've got a statistic for you here, and this is something you might be able to use in one of your shows. It has to do with their censoring of the RNC on MSNBC. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this. Over the first 3 nights, MSNBC censored 121 minutes of the RNC to fact check Republican speakers. And mostly it was Rachel Maddow and Joy Reid.
So why would they play it? Because if they did, people would actually see how amazingly diverse, amazingly uplifting, and inspiring the RNC was compared to the pathetic DNC.
Yes, they would. And they called it dark. They called everything dark. I thought everything was very hopeful. There were some dark stories in there. This man we aired this morning, his last name is Vigil, I think, Sam Vigil maybe, lost his wife to an illegal alien. He's from New Mexico. And it wasn't, and this was several years ago, and it wasn't until Donald Trump put more resources into it that they caught the perpetrators, and there was an illegal alien who had been deported in October of the year his wife was killed, came back in, he was deported in September, came back in October, and ended up killing this poor man's wife.
Honestly, those stories were absolutely heartbreaking and awful, but I feel like that's exactly what we needed to have, was to show the real stories about what's happening with David Dorn's wife speaking and the parents of an ISIS hostage sex wife that they ended up murdering. I think that was just really important for them to have because it really showed the full roundness of Trump's character, that he does have this sympathetic, empathy side to him where he can relate to all these people and help them.
He can more than any politician I've ever seen. And Mrs. Dorr was excoriated by, I think it was MSNBC or CNN, one of them, for her speech where she actually broke down crying. And that
was such a moving moment for everyone, and I'm not surprised that they tried to censor that.
It's truly, truly heartbreaking that many people are still on the progressive wagon, and they still, and you hear people like Ilhan Omar calling the Minneapolis police a cancer. You've got people like Shana Sawant, I forget how to say her name, the socialist on the city council there in Seattle, along with Mayor Jenny Durkin, calling for the dismantling of their police and the dismantling of capitalism, and you call for the tearing down of any borders. It's kind of a scary thing. What do you think people should take away from the conventions, whether it be the Democrat convention or the Republican convention, if you put them side by side, if you juxtapose them, what is the difference in the feeling that came out of each?
Well, it's quite clear. The left, the Democrats, violence is fun to them. Destruction is okay to them. Evil is the new normal for them. And they keep proving that again, time and time again. Even at the RNC, as people were leaving, mobs attacked the guests that came to the RNC. The police were attacked. It was absolute chaos. It might as well have been Portland. But then we see the RNC, who are all about hope, our future. Let's get safety and our law and order back into our country. Let's have citizens be able to protect themselves with the Second Amendment. Let's have strong borders. Let's have God back in government. Let's support our troops and our police who sacrifice their lives for our freedom versus the RNC who have pop culture singers come in and talk trash. The DNC, what you can take away from them is that they just don't care anymore. It was just a Trump hating fest. They didn't talk about anything that they wanted to do for the future. They didn't give us any more promises that they weren't going to fulfill. They just talked trash about Trump versus the RNC, who gave us hope, gave us future. And Donald Trump, he spent a good 30 minutes of his speech talking about all the things that he promised us and then how he fulfilled those promises, which is totally crazy when it comes to politics. Whoever would have thought that we would have a politician who made us promises before getting elected and got them done in one term?
Perfect. There you go. That is a perfect overview of both of them. And yeah, you're right. The mobs of people outside the perimeter last night, Rand Paul and his wife could have been killed as they went back to their hotel, if not for the DC police, because the mobs attacked. And it's a scary thing to see. And these mobs are also attacking the people who are praising them, the people who are throwing fire on the protests when they become violent, and that would be the Democratic left. They are also attacking some of them as well, but they don't see that. They still stand shoulder to shoulder with the radical left.
It's honestly crazy. If a 16-year-old kid, can see that this is violence, this is murder, this is mayhem, this isn't okay, this isn't law and order, and this shouldn't be encouraged in our government. If I can see that, how come adults in this country can't see that? As I've said in tweets before, the generations before me, the adults, honestly, they were passive in raising their kids. They gave the Democrats inches and things that they thought didn't matter. And now we see in 2020 that the Democrats didn't take an inch. They ran 100 miles. Those kids that generations before me passively raised are grown up and they can vote now. And let's just say they have their gas masks and their little Molotov cocktails and their skateboards at the ready to go loot and riot in the streets. Do you remember all those kids who we would see in Walmart throwing tantrums because their mom wouldn't buy them a donut? Do you remember all those kids we gave participation trophies to for just playing the game and making the risk? Yeah, those are all adults now, and they're all able to vote.
There you go. They want utopia. They're entitled, are they not?
They're completely entitled. And what we have to remember is that a utopia isn't possible. America was never perfect, but we sure as heck can strive to be perfect. And you know where that starts? That starts with bringing back law and order. That starts with calling murder what it is, murder, not bringing race into it. That starts by saying, I think just maybe burning down my city and my town and attacking cops with trash cans isn't exactly okay. And maybe, just maybe, I deserve to go to jail for that.
You know, it's interesting, isn't it? How now, all of a sudden, Joe Biden and people of his ilk are saying, well, the protesting is good, but the violence isn't good. Where before, they were almost okay with the violence because it's reparations. So
yeah, reparations. That's what the leader of the BLM said. They can go rob and loot any Nike, Gucci, and Apple store that they want because those are reparations. That's the dumbest thing in the world that I've ever heard. A black person who has never been a slave gets to demand reparations from a white person who's never owned a slave? That's stupid. That's not how reparations work.
Amen. And you had I forget what city it was in now. You probably saw this. I think it might have been in the suburbs of Seattle where the BLM crowd was marching into neighborhoods and demanding the people give
Their
them their
houses?
homes.
Mm-hmm. And that's even crazier. I'm just going to just make this very clear to everyone. You don't get to come in my neighborhood and demand I hand over my house to you. If you want a house like mine, here's a crazy idea. Go work for it. Go get a job. Go spend your life working towards your goals. I'm not handing you anything, especially something that I worked my butt off for.
Wow. You are just so spot on. Listen, you say you're a 16-year-old kid, but I swear I cannot regard you as a kid or a 16-year-old because you have the wisdom of you have more wisdom than everybody in the whole left wing of Congress, many on the right side of Congress. I mean, we've
Oh, well, thank you.
well, no, it's true. You're amazing, and I've gotten many comments about your last appearance on the show, and that's why I wanted to have you back. And I certainly want to make it a regular thing whenever you're available. But this is all good to hash out and talk about. We all seem to be on the same page, and it tells the rest of us who are out there and our listeners that no, we're not crazy for thinking what we think. We are right. I mean, these are righteous thoughts. We don't want violence. We don't want racism. We want to love everybody. We want everybody to do well. We love individualism. We love the Constitution, and we disagree on some things like abortion. We played a clip. I think it was one of your first shows. You were talking about one of your heroes, Caitlin Bennett from Kate's Unsafe Space, and she was interviewing a bunch of people about they were pro-abortion or were they anti-capital punishment? I forget what the crowd she went into was.
Yes. With Caitlin Bennett, I get that so many people hate her. The left completely hates her. And I don't understand why the right hates her so much. Sure, she can be abrasive and get straight to the point with the questions and call the shots for what they are. But isn't Trump exactly like that? Isn't this what we want? Don't we want to be abrasive with the questions, get the point across, get the truth across? And I will always just adore Caitlin Bennett for her totally tough spirit. She's been through hell and back with everything that the left and even some that the left of Republicans have put her through. And she just stood up in the face of adversity and said, you know what? No, this is the truth. I'm going to be harsh with the questions. I'm going to be harsh with the truth. And I'm going to get it across, and I'm going to call things for what they are. And I totally admire her for that.
Absolutely. She reminds me a lot of, I mean, you can compare her to Candace Owens even, who also says what it is, regardless of, whether it's a crowd at a college or it's a congressional hearing. These people just speak the truth. And that's what Donald Trump does. They don't make false promises. They don't make you feel good. How much do you think the Democrats deal in feelings rather than substance?
100% of the time, I have to say. I mean, if you look at any of their standpoints, what's the main purpose? What's the main criteria of their argument? It's all about feelings. It's about, well, I feel violated. Well, I feel victimized. Well, that scares me. Oh, well, we need to do this because we need to do X because of Z. Feelings is the center point of the Democrat Party. There is not a single argument where feelings are involved versus the Republicans. We just deal with facts. I really don't care what you feel. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care if you won't acknowledge that what I'm saying is the truth. But I'm just going to give you facts and I'm going to be harsh with it. And if that hurts your feelings, I'm not sorry.
Too bad, right? I love that. You are so much older than your years. You really are now.
I've been told I'm an old soul.
You are an old soul. I have used that often with my own I've got a grandson he's 11 years old. He's an old soul. And I totally believe that. And you are so wise beyond your years, Savannah. I was going to ask you if you've thought about doing anything like Caitlin Bennett does. Now, I know she's somebody who's already doing it, putting herself out there, but you've got the kind of constitution for it. You have the wherewithal to be able to go out and confront people with truth. Have you thought about that? And I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying you're the type who could do it.
I actually have done that before. For my history final, actually, for freshman year, I walked around the University of Virginia in Virginia, and I asked faculty, staff, students 3 basic questions. I asked them what the 5 parts of the First Amendment are. I asked them the 3 branches of government, and I held up the Constitution, and I literally just asked them, what is this book? And I can tell you, none of those kids could answer any of those questions.
Really?
And if they did try to answer those questions, they were really, really far off. There might have been 1 or 2 people who could answer those questions, and lo and behold, they weren't even from America. They were immigrants, which I find extremely interesting. He's like, I'm just here on a visa, and I'm just here at UVA for a while. And I'm like, wow, good for you. Could you please go teach American citizens this? Because they sure as heck need to know it.
Wow.
It was so interesting listening to their answers. And I can tell you, I got some Caitlin Bennett vibes going on there because I had some very, very angry staff when they realized that I was a 16-year-old and I could answer more of these questions than they could and that I was recording it.
No, no. Is there a video on this?
I did make a video. I think I should post that because it was a really cool video. It started off with the questions, and then I went into this whole speech, and I took different clips from all around UVA in front of all their probably now torn down monuments, but talking about the importance of the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the significance of these documents, and why these documents have certain things in them and why they didn't include certain things. Just explaining that on a basic level. It was a totally fun history final that I got to do. I got an A+. So I was very, very proud of it. And my history teacher actually is using that to show future generations of that class what presentations can look like, which was really interesting because that was an 11th, 12th grade class, and I was a 9th grader at the time. So that was really fun.
Wow. That's fantastic. Yeah, I think you should post that. I truly do. You've got the audio, but no video, or you did shoot video of that?
I did shoot video. It was videos all over UVA in front of the monument. And I think I'm just going to have to go find that. It's probably on a flash drive somewhere in my old school files. I'll have to go dig that up and post it because that was such a fun little clip that I did. And I think a lot of people could really learn from it because I just laid out the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, and amendments for what they were and just explained them. And I think it was a really simple way to just have a quick definition explanation of what they are, why they're important in our country, and why people need to start reading them again.
And I understand the university being upset because it really shows their lack of teaching, right? I mean, it shows that they're falling down on the job. I mean, how important, and in fact, I had a statistic this morning. Let me see if I can find, recently there was a survey done, and there were only like 22% of high school seniors who could pass a U.S. history exam.
Oh, I'm not surprised. We don't teach history in our schools anymore. So later we can indoctrinate it and change it to fit the latest narrative.
That tells you something about the righteousness of our true immigration system, where people are to come into our country, learn about our country, take the test, assimilate, and all that. If you're telling me that the people who could answer the questions were not from America originally, that tells you something about their desire to be here, that they would learn about the culture, learn about the history, learn about America more than Americans want to or care to.
See, this is why I love immigration so much. And I should say legal immigration.
Legal immigration.
Because before you come into America, besides having to be on a wait list forever because, lo and behold, everybody wants to come here, there are 100 questions that you have to get 100% correct to know about America. And they range from who is the president to what are the 3 branches of government to what are the amendments and just different questions about how our government works, economics, things like that. And this is why Democrats love illegal immigration, because the people who come here for free, the people who come here to do whatever the heck illegal things that they want to do, The people that don't have any desire to contribute to our society, they don't care. They'll vote blue. That's why they vote blue, because they give them all the free crap all the time. Versus the legal immigrants who come here, they learn about America. They learn the truth. They learn what really is going on. They actually do a little bit of research and they dig deeper and they learn about our government and they learn about politics. And 9 times out of 10, those immigrants go to the Republican side because they actually see the truth. And I hear that so many times in my DMs and messages from people across the world who are either on waiting lists or they're getting on waiting lists or they're about to come to America. They're like, I see what you guys are doing to your country. And I can't believe that the Democrats are tearing it down the way that they are. And I can't believe that your country can't see that. And they tell me, if I was a legal citizen right now, I'd be voting for Trump because I saw what the Democrats are doing. And they're doing that to my country right now. And that's why I want to go to America, because it is the last stand of freedom in the world.
Amen. And you've got mayors and governors all over this nation who just want borders to Beto O'Rourke when he was running. And by the way, all of these people who are on that stage, Beto and Bernie and I don't know about Amy Klobuchar, but some of the others are going to be a part of a Biden administration. We know Beto wants the guns. We know that Bernie wants to shut down the energy sector. We know that Bernie wants to legalize, make late-term abortion legal and standard, not just in this country, but wants to give other countries money so they can perform abortions. We know all these people are going to be part of, and so is AOC, by the way. So this is what. This is the word we have to get out, right? Am I right on that, do you think, Savannah?
You're 100% right. Everybody knows Joe Biden has dementia. If you're a Democrat, you're just not admitting it yet. Right. He will not be running our country. It will be Kamala, the deep state, the DNC, and literally anybody else but Joe Biden. And I just have to ask, what happened to the Democrat Party? We're not the party of JFK anymore. Like, we used to argue about taxes, unions, government involvement, schools, things like that. And now we're arguing about whether domestic terrorists are actually peaceful protesters, whether murder is okay, and whether, we're going to take away all your guns and police and leave you defenseless, the criminals. Like, what happened? Where did we go wrong?
Well, all this is true, what you're saying. Many of them won't admit it. They own it to themselves, but they won't tell you they own it. It's what they believe, but they're afraid to be verbal about it. But in all fairness, I will tell you, I do know Democrats. I'm a big gun guy, and I know a lot of Democrats who are very pro-gun and very moderate, very objective. But you've got this fringe now, this large left-wing fringe, and everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid. Many are drinking the Kool-Aid and following him right off the cliff and becoming puppets. Anybody who has a D by their name is now a radical leftist by proxy. And, they've either got to own that or they've got to get out of the party and become, independent, a libertarian or a whatever they want to do, but just get away from that. And
it's the saying, if your civil law contradicts your moral law, then your civil law is wrong. So I just have to ask all these Democrats who are sort of on the border when it comes to little things, but when it comes to big things, they lean more Republican and conservative. Why aren't you changing sides? Your moral law says it's wrong, so switch. Don't stay on the Democrat side because of these little issues that you agree on. I can name plenty of conservatives I know who are genuinely concerned about climate change. It doesn't mean they're going to go identify as a Democrat, because today identifying as a Democrat is probably going to lean you more along the domestic terrorist, it's okay to go riot, loot, and murder in the street sort of line.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you're spot on. I'd love to keep you for another hour, but we've got to run. We've got another guest coming up at 11:30. We've got to get to a break here. We're running a little late, but man, you're a gem. You are a treasure to talk to, Savannah, and I hope we can do this again. Do it more often.
Oh, well, I would love to. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. And listen, is there anything else you want to add? I know we're going to talk about the RNC, and we're all over the place here, but I think this has been great. If you have anything you wanted to say, though, you feel you've got the stage. It's yours.
Well, first of all, I would like to say, wake up, America. Open your eyes. Look around you. Look what each party stands for. And if you can't tell, look in the street. See what the citizens, these domestic terrorists, are doing. Look at what party they're voting for. And then maybe rethink your choices. And, hey, the only place that's recently telling the truth and what Trump is doing is the White House page. Go there for all of Trump's accomplishments, because there are a lot of them. And Fox News doesn't even tap the surface of what he's doing. So I would totally beg everyone, go do your research. Don't use Google. Go to DuckDuckGo. Go use other browsers, because as my Google whistleblower guest last week already said, they're censoring everything. It's inevitable. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is the truth now. And for everyone who wants to find me on social media, it's The Savvy Truth on literally everything. Or you can go to rightamericanmedia.com, or you can go to my sponsor, American Patriot 702, for some fabulous patriotic t-shirts that support our police, firefighters, first-line nurses, and doctors in our military. So go check them all out. I love that.
You're sensational. And I did want to say, I'd forgotten what I was going to say to you now. It seemed to me it was very important. I do want you to get that video of UVA that you went to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I should totally post that. I think that'll be a really cool video for people to see.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. And I will email you at your page if I think of the question I was going to ask. But it was a good question the listeners would have liked to have heard the answer to. But now I forgot. Now I'm a fat old man who loses his thoughts very quickly. I could never run for president. Although
you just have to have me on again.
Yes, there you go. I love that, Savannah. Listen, thank you so much. Tell your mom hi and Juan, and have yourself a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Take care, Savannah.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye now. Wow, what is she not the most amazing 16-year-old you've ever heard in your life? What was I doing? No, I don't even want to talk about what I was doing when I was 16 years old. I wasn't up to no good. I was a pretty good kid, but I certainly didn't have that kind of wisdom. 11:03, running a little late. Back, we've got a Sydney Standard coming up at 11:30. We'll let you hear a little bit of where she stands. She's a lifelong Democrat, but you've got to hear her story. That's coming up. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally.
Sales and service by a family who cares. Whittemore and Sons, Whittemore and Sons.
There are some things you can simply never depend on, like getting your morning coffee just the way you like it every day. I mean, you order it the same way. How is it different today? But know that you can always count on Whittemore & Sons in our line of Coyote tractors. Coyote tractors are machines made to work, whether it's mowing, tilling, digging, lifting, or hauling. Check out the full line of tough and versatile Coyote tractors, attachments, implements, and accessories at Whittemore & Sons, your Coyote tractor dealer, with dependable sales in service for over 50 years. Run ahead of the pack with a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons on the Waterville Road in Skowhegan. Sales and service by a family who cares.
From work to fun, we'll help you get it done. Whittemore & Sons, outdoor power equipment.
At Rod Cyclone RV, we know these are uncertain times. Everywhere we turn, we hear about the phrase, the new normal. But how about instead of a new normal, we go back to simpler times? Let's put our devices down and get into nature. Share a family dinner on the picnic table, laugh together around the campfire, or go on a hike. At Rod Cyclone RV, we'd love to help you find the perfect camper for your needs. No pressure, no gimmicks, just a quality camper at a good price. Find us online at rodcyclonerv.com or stop in Route 201 in Madison. Rod Cyclone RV, not the biggest, but always trying to be the best.
Kennebec Eye Care is pleased to let you know that they have reopened for routine eye care with temporary office hours Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Fridays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. To schedule an appointment, call 872-2797. Kennebec Eye Care will continue to follow all CDC guidelines to make sure everyone stays safe and healthy. Contact lens can still be ordered over the phone and mailed to you, or you can set up a time for curbside pickup of contact lens or glasses. Kennebec Eye Care, your site specialists at 216 Main Street in Waterville, would like to say thank you to everyone for supporting local businesses.
Maine Voter Information Hotline, can I help you? Yes, I'm calling about those ads running for Susan Collins, you know, the ones attacking Sarah Gideon.
Yes, ma'am. We've been getting a lot of calls about those.
Huh. Well, are they true? Like what they say about Sarah Gideon and taxes?
Well, it says here newspapers have been speaking out about those. The Portland Press-Herald said the ads were largely out of context, and the Bangor Daily News said the ad misleads on Gideon's record of paying taxes.
Interesting. But is it true that Gideon raised taxes in Augusta?
No, ma'am. Says here Sarah Gideon helped lower taxes for the middle class, including sponsoring the first direct property tax relief bill to pass in many years.
I told Bert I remembered that. I should get him to call you.
I'll leave that to you, ma'am. We are pretty busy these days.
I can only imagine. Good luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm Sarah Gideon, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sarah Gideon from Maine.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. M-O-O-G-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Jim Ryan. Nearly 2,000 people sat on the south lawn of the White House to watch President Trump accept the Republican nomination for president.
The fact is, we're here and they're not.
In a 70-minute acceptance speech, the second longest in history, the president painted a dark picture of what the country will face if he is not reelected.
This election will decide whether we will defend the American way of life or whether we will allow a radical movement to completely dismantle and destroy it.
Just steps from the White House, a stark contrast. Protesters demanding change and racial justice.
That's ABC's Mary Bruce. The president mentioned Democratic nominee Joe Biden more than 40 times. The former vice president tweeted, "Every example of violence Donald Trump decries has happened on his watch under his leadership," unquote. At least 6 deaths are blamed on Hurricane Laura after it came ashore in Louisiana. The remnants of the storm now are in Arkansas. This is ABC News. The man at the center of the sex scandal that led to Jerry Falwell Jr. resigning as president of Liberty University has now spoken with ABC News. Here's ABC's Sherry Preston.
Giancarlo Granda says he first met Becky Falwell when he was 20 years old working at a hotel in Florida. He says she told him she and her husband, Jerry Falwell Jr., had gone to a swingers club the night before, but they didn't like it.
It wasn't their thing. They said it was kind of gross because there was too many people and they wanted a more intimate session.
Granda claims Falwell would watch what was happening between his wife and the one-time pool boy, which Falwell denies. Granda denies trying to get money out of the Falwells in exchange for keeping the affair private. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
The British royal family is preparing a new memorial to the late Princess Di. The announcement this morning, a statue commissioned by her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, will be installed in the sunken garden of Kensington Palace next July 1st on what would have been Diana's 60th birthday. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
If Baby could talk, she'd say a lot. You'd know what she's thinking and what makes her happy. But unfortunately, Baby can't talk or remind you. You're the one taking her to daycare today, and she won't speak up if you drive straight to work like any other day and never think to look in the backseat. Every year, dozens of kids die from heat stroke in cars. No one is perfect, so set a reminder and always look before you lock. Where's Baby? Paid for by NHTSA.
O'Reilly. Superstart batteries exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts are designed to meet the electrical demands of today's vehicles. Get dependable power and performance from a Superstart battery for your car, truck, motorcycle, lawnmower, boat, and more. Our professional parts people can help you find just what you need. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to Freedom's Pep Rally on Legacy 1160, where Black voices matter.
History is about learning from it. I don't want to see us become like the Taliban or ISIS. Those are the people that destroy history.
How can you have systemic discrimination in Chicago when the leadership is minority? I know what systemic discrimination is. It does not exist.
If you say all lives matter, which is true, that includes Black lives, ladies and gentlemen, you get fired.
Here's your Pep Rally host, John James.
Welcome back to the program. 11:12 right now. Yeah, we're running a little late. That's okay. We do that sometimes. We aren't supposed to. I will say that we aren't supposed to. We're supposed to be on time. But I've got the corridor locked so nobody can come in and mess with my feng shui, as it were. Now, a couple of things. First of all, our Black Voices Matter series continues with Sydney Standard coming up later on this hour. Another amazing young woman. And I'm just so amazed by the intellect and the ability to speak truth in such a way that anybody can understand it. They are so fluent and so, I don't know any other way to put it. They have a certain way of saying things simply and directly and very powerfully. I mean, Savannah is just, the young woman blows me away. And we're going to start sharing more of her. I'm certainly going to on my page and at American Women Who Bear Arms, because I think she needs to be a star. And I don't know if Sydney aspires to that, but she is another great voice who you're going to hear. Now, I've gotten a few texts and messages in the last day or so, and I haven't mentioned this because we haven't had time. But Kyle Rittenhouse, what do you think? Because people know that I'm a gun guy. I own a gun business. Kyle Rittenhouse is the 17-year-old kid who is being charged with more than one felony. And people are upset. You know, I've got a friend, a good friend who's very left of me, who is very pro-Second Amendment, believe it or not. I mean, not all people on the left aren't pro-Second Amendment. So he was asking me, you know, what do you think about this? And so I said, well, I really need to learn more about it. And it's a kid who went to Wisconsin, and he ended up killing two guys with a rifle. Now, first of all, here's my first take. Here's the first thing I'm going to say about that. And I know I've got Mikkel on the phone. If you could hold on, Mikkel, just bear with me for a minute. I will get to you because Mikkel has something interesting about the upcoming school year that you're going to want to hear. But anyway, Kyle Rittenhouse should never have been in the middle of this in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He should not have been there. First of all, he's 17 years old. He is not old enough to own a gun. He shouldn't have been there with a gun. First of all, why do you want to? He said he wanted to help protect businesses. That's a very nice, righteous thing to want to do, granted. He also loves law enforcement, this kid. It's all over his social media. Unlike MSNBC and Joy Reid have been telling you that he's a white supremacist, there is no sign of anything white supremacist about this kid, Kyle Rittenhouse. Nothing. It's another falsehood. Mainstream media, all they do is make up stories and report them. They are liars. Don't watch them if you care about truth in the least, because they do not offer it. They offer nothing but editorial fiction all day long, especially on MSNBC. Don't watch them. They're dangerous. The New York Times went through this kid's social media accounts. There was nothing white supremacist in them. So let's throw that out right away. Joy Reid, shut your mouth and be silent unless you actually want to spread some truth around for a change. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse should not have been there. He was too young to own a gun. He shouldn't have been in the middle of the action. He shouldn't have been. They're calling it vigilante justice. I don't know if I'd go that far. The kid was being attacked. Did the kid have a right to defend his life? Well, under the law, he shouldn't have had a gun. But had he been of age and had he been there, initially, it sure looks like he was defending his life. He was being hit with a skateboard. He was being kicked by another guy. This is all on video. He shot and killed two people. Both. One of them was a convicted felon. The guy with a gun, the other guy with a gun, shouldn't have owned a gun. He was a convicted felon. That's one of the problems on the streets of America. And the other guy was some kind of a sexual abuser. So they're both not very savory guys. And then they're physically going after this kid. He could have easily been killed. So if he were a legal gun owner, absolutely, no question, right to defend your life with whatever means you have. He had a gun. He shot them. So the fact that being 17 and having a gun is a misdemeanor is, that's certainly, it's a good thing he's alive. He's not dead. Should he have had a gun there? No, he shouldn't have had a gun there. He shouldn't have been there. That sort of sounds vigilante-like, doesn't it? When somebody goes into an area they know is dangerous with a gun, they haven't been asked to come, as far as I know, and they're going out and they're patrolling. He's from Illinois, by the way. He's not even from Wisconsin. He's from Illinois. So he crossed state lines with a gun. He was illegal in doing it. He went into the city with a gun. He was illegal doing that. And so the whole thing is just totally off the rails and shouldn't have ever happened. Now, should he be tried for some kind of for murder? Well, probably not, given that he defended his life, which he has the right to do. Now, how much will the fact that he shouldn't have had a gun play in to a trial? Who knows? I don't know the law that well. I know basic law. I don't know that. We'll have to see what happens. He shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have had a gun. He's in big trouble. But that said, what's the old saying? Better to be tried by 12 than carried by 6. He did what he had to do to stay alive in the moment. But he made a huge mistake going there, period, and taking a gun. Bad mistake. It certainly probably will and probably should mean that he can't be a law enforcement officer ever. But again, we'll see what happens. And there was another guy shot too, apparently. Whether or not this guy was threatening the kid, I don't know. I have no clue. So maybe this third, and the guy didn't die. And I guess he was shot by the same kid, Rittenauer. So I don't know. If that was a bad shooting, then, that would be felonious. If he was hit with a stray bullet, the kid shot, or the kid shot him because I don't know. But he shouldn't have been there. So there you go. There's my take on it. Jury is still out in my mind. I still want to know more information before I make a judgment call. But my first judgment call is the kid should have stayed home and let things play out in Kenosha rather than try to be law enforcement. I guess he loves law enforcement. He wanted to be a law enforcement officer. Maybe that was his thinking, but he certainly didn't score any points for himself that night. 11:21 right now. And we've got Mikkel. You still there, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to address that. I've been getting some texts about that.
There's just so much going
Oh, there's. Oh, you aren't kidding.
So, on the Rittenhouse thing, all I can say is there's 3 legal words: competing harmful transgressions and mitigating circumstances. That might be 5 words.
Yeah. Well, no, that's right. Yeah.
And there's also there is several clips of different views. The one that suffered a arm injury was bringing his pistol to bear at his head. That was the one that survived.
Okay. Oh, okay. So there was a reason for him to shoot the other. Okay. I didn't know. So thank you for that.
Anyway,
so schools, we've got about 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'll run through this as quick as I can. Of course, we all know schools are getting ready, and they're trying to figure out if they're going to open or not, do remote, do a hybrid, and all those fancy words. However, my grandkid is down in southern Maine in Cumberland County, and I got some disturbing news.
All right. And this, from what I read that you sent me on text, this is disturbing.
So many schools and teachers have been sending letters to the parents saying that should they do remote or hybrid teaching, they're going to require the child to be in a quiet, secure, unsupervised room. And then, if they can't do that, they have to wear headphones and microphones.
Well, you know, I'm going to tell you something right now, Mikkel. That would not be allowed in my house, and I have enough electronic savvy, so old mom or dad would be listening in, whether they knew we're there or not. We would certainly be there listening in, and this is proof that it's not that they don't want the parents to get any free learning. It's that they don't want the parents to know what they're indoctrinating their kids with. I would think. Is that what you read from this?
Yes, I am. And then I've also have seen, I have not yet verified, but I have been made aware of that some of the content of the curriculum is Marxism, Black Panther history, and learning the 10 points of their rules of conduct. So all I can say is anybody who cares about their kids best be calling their superintendent and the school board and getting their hands on a copy what the curriculum is going to be for their elementary grade students. I almost said grammar school. Just shows you how old I am. But I'm just saying this is really important, and I hope you can get this on your Facebook because I don't got no stinking Facebook. So
yeah, well, no, absolutely. I want to look at it. This is something I want to look into myself, and it would do no good to do an interview with somebody in the school district because they're going to deny it, or they're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, what's they'll obfuscate the answer.
Yeah, obfuscate. Yeah. Yep. So now this is just you know because your grandkid goes to Cumberland County schools.
Right. That's why I'm saying. And then I've also been listening to other radios. I know you're not the only one, but I have to admit that.
I get that, of course.
And Glenn Beck.
Yep.
He just had a huge episode on 800 documents that he got from a school. I forget which state it was, so I'm not going to say the state. But it was on his program. And they're just going full blown into this.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's enough credible sources out there that anybody who has a child or a grandchild in elementary school at this time, so they're substituting American history with communist history for them.
Trying to grease the skids for when it takes over, I guess.
It's been being greased since 1970, back and I remember, but we used to make fun of it and call it politically correctness.
Oh, really? They had that term back in 1970?
Yeah, in the 70s.
In the 70s, really? I don't remember that. I was in school in the 70s. I don't remember that. Well, maybe I forgot. I wasn't much for remembering things back in the 70s, if you know what I mean.
We weren't savvy.
Savvy, that's right. Savvy is great. Is she not unbelievable?
Well, I tell you, I would not want to meet her on a debate stage.
Oh, you or me either, buddy. But thankfully, we're like-minded, so that's all good. And you're gonna like Sydney Standard too. In fact, I've got to let you go now because I want to do an intro piece for her, and she's coming up next. So I hope you'll be there.
Oh, I'll be listening. You have a good weekend and get that on your stinking Facebook page.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you, Mikkel.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. 11:26 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. All right, we do have to take a break. I want to introduce you to Sydney Standard here and tell you a little bit about her before she comes on, so you'll see who she is and where she stands. Part of our Black Voices Matter series, and it's some of the most tremendous people you can imagine, including Leo Terrell, Vernon Jones, and others, the Hodge twins we've had on, and so many more. Now, this is, I found the Pledge of Allegiance thing I was trying to find yesterday. It just happened on it just now. We'll get to that next week. But Sydney is a black woman who grew up a Democrat, became more indoctrinated in the protest and cancel culture, believe it or not, when she was in college. Now she describes herself as a free thinker and points to Candace Owens, founder of Blexit, as one of her heroes. And her hashtag is the hashtag walk away. And here's a little introduction to who Sydney Standard is. And I think you're going to like this a lot.
So I really feel compelled today to share my walkaway story. So my whole life I grew up and, I was Democrat. Like everyone around me was a Democrat. People were Democrats, I didn't really know anything other than the fact that Democrats were supposed to be the party that helped everyone. It was just this amazing party. And they were the good guys while the Republicans were the bad guys. And I didn't grow up in like a primarily black area. I grew up actually in a primarily white area. And, I went to public school all my life. And then I went to a private elite women's college for college. And, it's really interesting because I've never really been like a very political person. And I was too young when Obama was up for election both times. The first time I voted was in 2016, and I don't even know if they got my election because honestly, I was at college, so I did a paper ballot. So who even knows, really? But I just remember being so incredibly upset when Hillary didn't win in 2016 because I was in my senior year of college, and the whole campus was in tears because we were like, oh my God, Trump, he's this misogynist, this racist, this homophobe, this everything. And I even protested in Boston and was like, oh my God, this is terrible. Like that's how far deep I was into this. And before I even went to college, I was nowhere near as radical as when I left college. Like, it was just crazy. Like, after I left college, I just hated men. I hated anyone who disagreed with me, basically. And, I learned to protest in college, and I learned about being a social justice warrior and posting all this stuff on Facebook for the Democrats and all this other stuff. Because again, I thought they were the good guys. So fast forward 3 years. I've been out of college 3 years now. So slowly I kind of started to listen to people like Candace Owens and, Charlie Kirk and the Rubin Report. But really Candace Owens was my intro. And the more I listened to her and the more I actually looked into what she was saying and did my research, the more I realized that the Democrats are literally they're all communists and Marxists. And I've always been a capitalist because I believe in the free market system. I think it's the best way to for world prosperity, the best system that's been created. And I also saw through my studies that communism, socialism has never worked, it really got me thinking about the fact that I was brainwashed. And it was very liberating for me, because then I was like, oh my God, you know, I'm a free thinker now. Like, I can speak thoughts for myself. And so I came out on my Facebook profile, like in my community, and I was like, proud to be a Trump supporter, love to all. And I got so much hate from people. Like, it was insane. Like, you would have thought I was saying that I wanted to like kill people. But all I said is that I was voting for Trump, and I didn't say anything mean about anyone or anything like that. And I just got so much hate. And honestly, that only further validated the fact that I was brainwashed, because there was such a visceral, emotional reaction from people. And I was like, that's really like not right. If someone if someone disagrees with you, you shouldn't be reacting so emotionally and like canceling that, doing all stuff. Like, it didn't really make sense to me. So obviously I started to look into it more. I actually found the hashtag walkaway campaign maybe like a few weeks, months later. And I realized that this is a real problem. Like, our schools, our colleges, our everything is really indoctrinating people to be Democrats and like be communists, basically. And then I watched like a Trump rally, and I started really listening to like him speaking versus it being funneled through some sort of like mainstream media thing, like channel or paper or website or whatever. And I realized that they were totally misconstruing everything that this dude was saying and creating a narrative out of sound bites. And so I really caught on to the fact that it really is fake news. Like, he's been saying it. I've left the Democrat Party. I will never be back. And I just wanted to share this with the world. So, yeah. Happy to be an independent or conservative independent, and more importantly, to just be a free thinker.
There you go. Beautiful. Sydney Standard. She's with us in just a couple of minutes. Got to take a quick break here, and then we're going to get her on the phone, and we are going to talk about her evolution and about what she is looking for in the next 4 years. And we'll talk to her about how relationships have changed. That's a big one. That's a big one for all of us who make decisions to take a stand. It doesn't matter if you have the wherewithal to take a stand nowadays, you have alienated probably half the people who used to admire you, used to like you. I know I have. For years and years, I went through being pretty, homogenous, vanilla, as you might say. And I tried not to offend anybody. I did, still, without trying to offend people. But since I've been doing this show, I mean, there's quite a bit of hate out there. But I'm a nice guy, fun to be with. I don't hate anybody. So don't hate me, damn it. Sydney Standard, straight ahead. Stick around. I'm John James.
1160 WSKW.
Were you thinking of enrolling at Kennebec Valley Community College this fall, but now worry it's too late? Hi, I'm Nicole, a student in the mental health program at KVCC, and do I have some good news for you? KVCC has a Flex Start semester beginning September 21st that offers high-demand classes delivered in both hybrid and online formats. Flex Start offers students the opportunity to begin taking college classes without delaying another semester. New students can complete classes required in nearly every major, and students already attending can add a class to their fall schedule. At only $96 per credit, tuition at KVCC is the lowest in New England. Students who enroll during Flex Start are also eligible to apply for financial aid. Don't let the opportunity to attend KVCC pass you by. Flex Start classes begin September 21st. For more information, go to kvcc.me.edu or call 453-KVCC today.
Are you feeling cooped up? Tired of looking at the same old stuff at home day after day? Well, now that we can finally get out and do a little bit of shopping, why not head over to Townline Antiques? At Townline Antiques, you'll find 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. They've got vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and much, much more. So get away from it all with a look to the past at Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5 on Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
NS Giles Foundations, Inc., the most respected concrete company in Maine, is looking to hire entry-level concrete and construction workers. These positions include a full benefits package, competitive wages, advancement opportunities, and year-round employment with no off-season layoff. Experience is preferred, but they'd be happy to train the right candidate. Unemployment may soon run out. Take control of your own destiny with NS Giles. To apply, go to the career section at nsgiles.com or contact their HR department at 942-9445. NS Giles Foundations, Inc. is an equal opportunity employer.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers. MOOGY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor in for a nice day today. Expect mostly sunny skies, warmer with highs in the mid to upper 70s. Tomorrow cloudy with rain developing. Rain may be heavy at times. We also have the chance for some thunderstorms. It will be cool with highs just around 70. Brighter but breezy on Sunday, highs in the mid 70s, mostly sunny low 70s for the start of next week.
Your pep rally for freedom is back, powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Welcome back to the show. 22 until noon right now, and as promised, and the phone is a strange thing we have here. Sydney Standard, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much, John, for reaching out.
Well, no, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I was telling you, I tried to call Savannah last week. We just had Savannah on as a guest last hour, and last week when I tried to call her, I twice in a row I dialed the right number, but some strange woman who was wonderful picked up and didn't know she was on the radio until I told her, and she was fine with it. And then I redialed and I got the same woman again. She was laughing this time, thankfully. And when I tried to call you, it just said you've misdialed. So I gave up on that. Thank you for calling in.
Of course.
Now your evolution is an interesting one. You grew up Democrat.
Yeah. So I live in New York, which is a blue state. And, I think culture is probably the biggest enemy of the American people. And I say that because I grew up in a middle-class area. I never experienced poverty. Most of the people I live around are white. And I grew up with this hatred almost towards myself, which I think reflected on how I saw people who didn't look like me.
Wow.
And once I started to kind of take those blinders off of what culture was programming me to think about people and really just started thinking about my everyday interactions with people, I was like, we're all the same. Most people just want to spend time with their families, make a good living, and, just enjoy life. And I think we should really just focus on that.
Amen. That is so true. That is so well put. And we are. We're just people. And
yeah.
What is going on right now? Now, I would like to hear your perspective on what is going on right now, and why is it going on? Do you see a real systemic racial division in this country, or do you think it's overblown? Do you think it's for opportunity? I don't know. I'm going to let you answer this.
Yeah, so I think that there is no systemic racism. I think what is the case is that people's egos are so tied to their skin color. And I think this is on both sides, whether you're white, whether you're black. By the way, I don't know any person who is white as a sheet of a paper or black like tar. So I don't even think these racial categories really make sense. I believe that we are the human race. And I think a lot of these categories have literally just been created to divide and conquer the people. So I think that the media has crafted these narratives around people who have these racial identifiers, right? So if you look at culture, most of the people who play the enemy on TV, it's usually someone who's black, right? They're always a gangster or something like that.
Right.
And then the white person is seen as the white supremacist. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to be either of these people. I'd rather just be a human being.
Right.
So I think what we have to do is we really have to have better programming that promotes family, togetherness, all this stuff, rather than this like hyper promiscuous culture that degrades women and villainizes masculinity. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in our society. We don't have real men anymore leading.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Everybody is everybody is a sellout to their who they should be, and it's a shame to see this happening in our culture. And I want to ask you about what you feel about the BLM and the Antifa movement and what they are doing. Are they help? They purport to help. They purport to help, and they're trying to stop racial division. And I can't think of how they're doing that. Do you think they're helping or hurting?
Okay, so I think BLM really stands for Burn, Boot, Murder, because that's what they've been doing. And Antifa is clearly like some sort of homegrown terrorist organization within the United States. And I think they're honestly helping Trump to get reelected because the Democrats aren't denouncing them. And the only reason they would denounce them, what they're starting to do now, is because it's affecting Biden's poll members, which honestly I think is BS anyway, but that's for another day.
Now, we talked with another woman from New York last hour, lives in Rome, and she sees a lot of Democrats now seeing what is going on and not seeing it as Trump's fault, as MSNBC and CNN, and to a lesser extent, but it's gaining ground. The regular mainstream networks are really pushing the narrative that Joe Biden is the guy. He's leading in the polls. He's going to win. He's going to be elected. They're demonizing everything Donald Trump does or says. His speech last night, every network called it dark and un-American, and while they praised Joe Biden's speech from the DNC. Now, I hate to see, I certainly don't like to sow division, but I do like to be a defender of what's right. And do you think the networks are in it for what the progressive left is calling for? Do you think they're like complicit with them?
I think it's an arm of DNC, and I call MSNBC MSDNC.
Yeah.
Because they're really just pushing this narrative.
Right. Yeah, they are. And CNN, I call them the Communist News Network.
Oh, me too.
Oh, good.
We're on the same page.
See, we are on the same page. Now, let's talk about your evolution. You grew up a Democrat. You went to college, and that was exacerbated big time, right? I mean, you were all in.
Yep, I was. And, Smith College, I loved my experience. It was awesome. It was very interesting, but the indoctrination is so real, and they push, being a lesbian, being like trans rights, all that stuff, one of the landmark policies that they actually passed in 2015 when I was a junior is allowing trans women into a school. And I think that is just so damaging to the fact that it is a women's college, because whether or not you identify as a woman, if your equipment isn't that of a woman,
Right.
then I just don't think that you should be allowed into a women's college. Like, you can feel like the sky is green, but it's not.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm just kind of like, I think people are too much in their feelings. And the reason why is because the left really takes advantage of the fact that most of the people who follow them have some sort of mental illness going on. And that's speaking from someone who really did deal with that. Like, I dealt with depression, I dealt with anxiety, and when it was super intense, I was a liberal and I was getting so triggered by, you know, these emotional stories that were happening. And when I started to focus going inward and actually healing myself, thank God for the grace. And I was able to, you know, get rid of my emotional feelings about things and look at the facts and think logically.
Wow, you are thinking, you are speaking so logically. I mean, this, and we do it all for the sake of freedom of speech. We're free now. And this is another place I want to go. Freedom of speech in your college. I mean, obviously, anybody on the left, anybody with the progressive ideology has a stage to say whatever they want, whenever they want, wherever they want, right?
Yep.
How was it for conservatives? Were there any conservatives on the campus, and how were they treated?
Oh my God. So I have a crazy story. So there was this club that was started called the Bipartisan Coalition. And one of the girls, they had two presidents. One of the girls was supposed to be the Democrat, and the other girl was supposed to be a Republican. And they would get both conservative speakers and liberal speakers to speak on campus. And every single time they tried to get a conservative speaker, people would protest and be like, you can't even speak. We don't want to hear what you have to say. And I think that argument is just terrible, because you don't want to even hear what someone has to say. That's totally against the First Amendment.
Wow. And did they actually keep the speakers out? Did they block doors and things like that?
They would boycott. And, you know, it's so crazy because I remember being on the side of, you know, the liberals on campus. Like, I was so brainwashed. It's crazy to me, really, to look back on some of my posts and things that I said and to see where I am now. And I keep it up there because I want, you know, just like we need statues, I think sometimes we do need to see where we were at a certain period of time to reflect and be appreciative of how far we've evolved.
Yes, so well said. I liken it to the memory, to memory, Sydney. If you touched a hot stove before, you know that you don't want to do that again, but right? But if you could erase parts of your memory you didn't like, then what? You would have to relearn these things all over again. And it would be a very painful learning experience. And that's what I liken, the removing the statues, the erasing history. This is all, it's all the same idea. You're doomed to repeat it if you forget it, if you erase it. And they aren't teaching it in schools, right? Did they teach any U.S. history in your college? And if so, was it skewed to a liberal curriculum?
Well, I didn't take many history courses when I was in school, when I was in college, but I do remember when I was in high school, a lot of the courses are focused on really just victimizing Black people and saying, like, this is what white people did to you, you should be mad. And it's just a constant reinforcement. And it really has an effect on someone who identifies as Black, or, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And they think like, wow, okay, I can't do anything. And I think that's part of the reason why we see so many Black people not progressing as much as they can, because if you're going through this indoctrination school system, being told that you can't do anything, you're not even going to try.
Absolutely. Now, do you think a lot of the people, a lot of the families in the inner cities, mostly run by Democrats? It's the truth. I know the truth is unpopular nowadays, but you and I and our listeners can certainly understand what that means. Do you think the politicians and that class of people is purposely trying to tell folks living in the inner cities, whether black or white, that you can't do anything without us? You need us. You are a victim.
I totally think they are, because think about it. They're making it so that, okay, we're going to give you welfare, all this stuff. I heard someone say it's kind of like, if you want your fix, then you have to vote for us.
Wow.
So it's like they're forced almost to vote for these people, and they don't realize that if they can really see their potential and see that, yo, I don't need you. You know, I live in America. I can take personal responsibility for my actions. We have capitalism at work. If I come up with a great idea and I work hard, I can do it. And that's the issue.
God bless you. That is so true. Why do you think so many people don't see that? Why are the people out protesting America instead of trying to fix things and trying to make themselves better? Is the mob mentality that powerful that they give up their own lives to go out and be part of the crowd that is doing nothing more than protesting, destroying, demonizing everything that's conservative or truthful or moral or righteous?
Well, I think that we have a very large demoralized population because, you know, we've been going through psychological warfare for far too long. Like, this is why I keep saying the media is truly the enemy of the people. I'm so happy I'm talking to you today because this is a free thinking broadcast, which I love. And I just think, like, the more that we can really just say, okay, we're not even going to pay attention to the MSDNCs and the CNN and all that stuff. We're going to start listening to independent people who aren't going by a narrative. I think then people would be like, okay, so this is not how life actually is. There are other people who came from nothing, who are making something of themselves in America, so I can do it too. And I think that's really what Donald Trump represents, because, you know, he was a reality star.
Yes.
And if he can become president, anybody can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great case in point. And the individual is the most important thing in a free society, and that's what we've got right now. But they want to take it all away from us one step at a time. The First Amendment, as you've seen on college campus, the Second Amendment, as we've heard Beto O'Rourke and Bernie Sanders and Pocahontas, excuse me, I don't mean to throw her under the bus.
I call her that too.
Yeah, she earned that name. I am not sorry, not sorry, right? But these people want the groupthink. They want to think that the government is going to take care of us. And too many people, Sydney, are buying into that. And they want the free health care. They want the free housing. They want open borders. And that's another thing that we've got to be careful of, the open borders, where you don't have to take a test. You don't have to assimilate. You can run the streets all night. You can shoot people all night. And people like Lori Lightfoot, mayor of Chicago, are going to turn the other cheek and say, no, we don't want DHS. No, we don't want ICE. We just want our illegals to come in because they're going to vote us in because they want free stuff. Is that that accurate?
Totally accurate.
Now, how is it? I know you talk about your family. And your family all still Democrat, I would assume.
Yeah.
Are there hard feelings?
So actually, in my immediate family, they're pretty much all voting for Trump now.
Really?
Even my little brother, who's 18, he's like, I love America. Like, I'm not voting for Joe Biden. So it's gonna be his first time voting, and he's gonna be voting for Trump. Okay. And so they're a little different. They're kind of like woke to the fact, even though I hate that term.
I do too.
I would say awakened, because I think woke has been commercialized, so I'm not really about it anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been awakened to the fact of really what's going on. Because the only thing that the left has is the mainstream media and these celebrities who are so out of touch with reality.
Oh, my word.
It's crazy. Like, you're in your mansion telling the people to defund the police when you have your own private security. I'm sorry. I'm not listening to anything you're saying.
Absolutely. I mean, they get Eva Longoria, they got Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and we've got regular people. We had a lobsterman, one of our own Maine lobstermen, was on there talking about what Trump has done for the lobster industry in our state. And I'm sure you're familiar with Maine lobster. And, you know, just regular people telling their stories. The lady whose retired police officer husband was killed by the mob. She was
David Dorn, yes.
David Dorn. Oh, my word. I mean, these are real, raw stories, and the media has demonized them. They hate it, and I think it's because they're afraid.
They're afraid, and they're anti-American. Like, just think about how they frame things. Unless the narrative is a black person shot by a white person, they give no media coverage. Like, there's no media coverage for Cannon Hinnant or the man who was ripped out of his car, who was actually helping a trans woman. He beat his head.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yep. I just heard about that last week, wasn't it?
It
was recently,
insane.
very recently. Yeah, it is insane. And I'm sorry to say, Sydney, we're about out of time.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Because we have a show coming up at noon. Otherwise, I'd keep you on overtime here. But we have a show coming up at noon. But boy, oh boy, what a breath of fresh air you are. What a great human being you are. I mean, you speak so well about, you know, what we believe in, what we want. And, you know, black lives do matter. White lives matter. All lives matter.
Human lives matter.
Human lives matter. We're all in this. We're all in this together. Yeah. We're all in this together, and we've got to all be on the same side in America as Americans.
Exactly.
And you are such an inspiration. And I hope you'll come back.
Definitely, I would love to come back.
Awesome. And as I told you, I texted you last night and told you it's going to be a rainy weekend here, probably there too. And I'm going to spend all weekend going through your YouTube channel.
Amazing.
So,
thank you for supporting. I really appreciate it, Don.
Sydney, thank you so much. And I'm going to talk to you again real soon.
Awesome.
Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. God bless.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. I'm telling you, I get chills in talking with these great Americans. Sydney, Savannah, Mikkel, Megan from New York also. I mean, this is it. This is what it's all about. This is the individuals coming together for a common cause. This isn't groupthink. This is individuals who think alike, who want to save the republic that we hold dear to our hearts. And we're going to have a lot more of this. I'm telling you, we aren't. And I love Savannah. You remember what Savannah said? She called out Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. She says, "You're not going to get rid of me. You can delete me, but you aren't going to get rid of me." I love that resolve. We'll be back with more on Monday. We're running a little late. We've got Sportsman's Alliance of Maine, a real good show today. Nate Webb from the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Department going to be talking about all sorts of things, including lead bullets. Lead bullets. Should they be banned? Well, that would be a pretty harsh stance. So you probably won't be surprised with what they think. Should you use, say, copper ammunition instead? If you can, costs a little more, not much. That might be morally the right thing to do. You'll learn a lot from this show. Stick around. Coming up in just a few minutes, it's Conserving the Maine Outdoors. See you on Monday. And check for Mike Violet tonight at the Trump rally in Londonderry, New Hampshire. He's got VIP seating. I think he's going to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom, but he doesn't think so. But we'll see. Check that out tonight. That'll be all over TV, I'm sure. Have a great weekend.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
This past year's economic roller coaster has all of us wondering what the future will bring. But you'll find heating fuel price stability through one of Bob's Cash Fuel's programs that'll give you peace of mind. Since Bob's Cash Fuel was formed in 1981, customer satisfaction has been their number one goal. With their pre-buy program, your price is secure and locked in. If you purchase the downside protection plan, you lock in at a capped price. And if the price goes down, you get the lower price, whichever is lower on the day of delivery. Call Bob's Cash Fuel today, 696-3040, to learn about their programs and options and today's pre-buy price. And remember, Bob's Cash Fuel is there for all of your heating, cooling, oil, and propane needs. The hot weather is here, so check out Mitsubishi's electric cooling and heating system with EcoComfort technology that lets you control each room individually. And with no ductwork, it can be installed in less than a day. Get your Mitsubishi heating and cooling system from Bob's Cash Fuel. To heat or cool and propane too, call Bob's Cash Fuel, 696-3040 or bobscashfuel.com.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center. If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go, take it to Moody's. You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show, take it to Moody's. Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss. Take it to Moody's.